CSIS Director David Vignon is warning Canadians against using TikTok in light of his comments and what he knows about how it operates. Do you think TikTok is safe for Canadians, and do you see a role for government in regulating TikTok?
Well, obviously, as a government, we lean heavily on CSIS and our intelligence agencies to keep Canadians safe. And when the director of CSIS is pointing out that TikTok poses a real threat to the data security of Canadians, I think Canadians need to listen. Obviously, we already took measures as a government to ensure that all federal computers and phones do not have the TikTok app applied to them. That's a risk that we don't want for our government, but I know more organizations and orders of governments are looking at that very seriously as well. We need to continue to have a conversation with Canadians about how they remain safe online. Yes, there's a role for government, and we'll continue to consult and work with Canadians on that. It's important that we empower Canadians to make smarter choices about keeping themselves and their families safe online. That's one of the reasons why we're moving forward with an Online Harms Act focused on keeping kids safe and making sure that our online world is as safe or even safer than our in real life world. Oui. Écoutez,
as a government, we listen carefully to everything that our security and intelligence services tell us, including CSIS. So when the director of CSIS tells us that TikTok represents a threat to security and to the privacy of Canadians, I think that we should listen. For sure, as a government, we have already taken measures to ban that app. And that app was banned on our government platforms. I know that other jurisdictions and businesses are in the process of looking at those same priorities. But I think that Canadians should be having a conversation amongst themselves and with their young people to talk about online safety and how they can better protect themselves and our society. One thing is certain is that as a government, we will continue to be part of that conversation. For example, we put forward a bill on online harms. This bill will bring more protection, particularly for our youth, and we need to continue to be vigilant as a government. Still on TikTok? If it's a threat, why not go as far as the Americans? Why would we tolerate an app such as this? Answer? First of all, we are looking closely at what the Americans are considering. First off, they asked the TikTok app to cut its ties with the Chinese government, which we know is collecting data on all TikTok users globally. So we're going to be looking at what happens in the U.S. Here, obviously, the app will change its approach so as not to have to use a measure as strong as banning an internet app. We know a lot of people choose to use and like this app. But we will make those decisions one step at a time, and that's something we're watching closely.
I think right now, with the move the Americans made, we're going to see how TikTok responds. The concerns are that the data that TikTok collects on all of its users gets simply funneled to the government of China and is used to, potentially for nefarious purposes. These are things that we are very aware of, and we're encouraging Canadians to be very, very careful about their online usage. As the company responds to what the U.S. is asking them to do, we'll see if there are changes that make TikTok a less unsafe platform. We know that a lot of people, particularly young people, enjoy using TikTok, and we need to make sure that that usage is safe. So we're going to follow carefully, but before taking any drastic actions, let's see how the company responds.